Hello again, VOTOMS fans. I'm reading here on mahq.net that Armored Troopers VOTOM's Blue Knight Berserga story, a 4-volume novel released in Japan quite a while ago, and so that's part of the VOTOMS franchise. It was never, I guess, an actual cartoon show, just a novel, and then here are the robots that were featured in that novel. But it was also a PlayStation 1 game, so I have over here some images here. And I know this robot, I built a model kit of that already. So PlayStation 1, we're talking a long time ago. Okay, so that's an introduction to this trio of models here that I have. And it's volume 3 of this set of model kits made by Bandai. Bandai is the best model kit company out there. They make, you don't need any glue to put these models together, which is pretty cool. Alright, so let's take a look at this. There's 3 model kits in here. We're going to start with the first one, the Berserga. I'll do the other 2 later on. There's 4 series, 4 volumes released. And I've actually ordered all of them, but they're not coming in the mail in the proper order, so it'll just be a random mix of model kit building of these things here. This is the outer sales box, so I'm going to guess the retail shops would have a few of these, and these are just torn open. Like this. There, so that's the retail display. There's no date on these things either. So anyways, there's only 3 kits. Oh, what's going on? I think they've all been opened. Well, hopefully they're not, like, missing pieces. All the boxes look identical. Yeah, so all the boxes are identical. But how do I then know? Okay, the front of the box is not identical though. So this is, I think, the first one. And then these 2, although they look similar, are not quite the same. So, yeah, we'll get to these 2 builds later, at a later date. We're going to start with the Berserga, which is this blue one. So let me get these 2 out of the way. And let's just take a closer look here. So Super Minipla, Volume 3. Oh, what do you know? There is a date. 2020. That's not too old. I was expecting it to be older, considering the PlayStation 1 is pretty old. So they got around to it eventually. Okay. Yeah, alright. So we've seen all that, so let's open this. Oh, strange. Why would they... How could these have been opened unless maybe that outer blue box was taped together and I just didn't notice it? So the instructions are pretty straightforward. I built a model kit already from a different volume, and it went together pretty easily, so you can fast forward, of course. I'm going to just leave this here on the table and do this. But all the screws are, separate. Well, they're bagged. Actually, they're not separately bagged, all of them, but for some reason this one isn't. I'm not sure why these are separate, but I can understand this because it's actually painted already. And then what's weird is some of these are painted and then they're mixed in with other ones. So the paint, I guess it would be hard to scratch that because it's on the outside. Same with this, it's on the outside. So as long as the pieces are on the outside, it looks like they might have some paint. Yeah, so that's what I like about these. No glue and a lot of parts are painted already. Including that one. Alright, so what I'm going to do, like the last time, is I'm going to take a bunch of these little plastic bins I have from previous Choro queues. I'm going to put all the lettered sprues into each one of these in order, and then I'm just going to start putting them together like this. So I'm going to fast forward this video. You can slow it down. You can tell YouTube to speed up or fast forward a video if you want to really see the details. Alright, maybe an hour and a half later, I'm finished. I took my time, of course. I tried to cut, the pieces off cleanly. Sometimes I'll cut them twice, far away, and then a little bit the second time closer to the edge. I'm not sure if it really makes a difference. I feel like it tears less of the plastic away when I do that, though. Okay, so, there weren't any major problems putting this together, and I gotta say, it's very tight, which is pretty impressive for a model kit. But I'm sure if you play with it all the time, everything's gonna work loose. But I will show you, let's talk about articulation here. So first with the head, there's a ball peg up there, and so you can spin it around a little bit and tilt it and all that stuff. It's nice that that thing is painted. It's really strange looking robot though. And then it does have a hatch that opens, but it doesn't come with a figure, which is strange. Even if it was just a plain raw plastic figure, that would have been nice to have. But it doesn't. Okay, so that's the articulation for that. The torso, it's on a ball peg as well, so you can spin it a little bit. It does collide though with the hip blue there, the blue of the hip. But yeah, it still works. And then the arms, they have ball pegs, but they also have a butterfly effect. Not the movie. So yeah, it butterflies out if you want to get really dynamic arm posing. But yeah, this ball peg allows this thing to spin around and rock in and out and all that stuff. And then there's another one out here for this giant shield slash spike thing. Berserga historically has like a spike. This one's really tight, but yeah, there you go. And you can spike an enemy. I've retracted it, so if it falls, it won't break as much. Probably, hopefully, it won't break. Okay, so that shield though is on a ball peg as well, so all sorts of rotation you can get. The arm, so the upper arm has a swivel, and then there's a single, or maybe it's a double elbow, I forget. Let's see. First elbow gets it past 90. You know what, let me do it on this side. It's a little easier to see. Actually, I can remove this shield. The beautiful thing about Bandai is the parts are super tight, so it doesn't rattle loose, but you can take it apart and repaint everything if you want, because you know these are unsightly. And this blue seems a little cheap for some reason. It just looks really plasticky. Maybe someday I'll repaint it, but there's no glue involved. That's the beautiful thing. That's why you can take it apart. Okay, so a little past 90, but yeah, actually it is a double. There's a double jointed elbow there, so you can get past 90, which is good for an armored figure. It even kicks back on a dog leg. Okay, so the hands, they have a ball peg as well, and they're pretty easy to swap in and out. Okay, and then this shoulder armor here, no, that's not on a, I thought it was on a swivel. It is, it's just so tight. Yeah, so that pivots as well. I think maybe even this white side, no it doesn't, because there's some hose details there. I don't think that one pivots. Okay, so the hips, yeah, they're ball peg system as well, and you can move it. It is a butterfly effect as well, I think. Actually, only up and down butterfly effect, so it doesn't swing back sideways, front and back as I originally thought. But a little extra reach up and down, and then yeah, you know, you can rotate it, cant it in and out, and all that stuff. This armor plate thing is also on a ball peg, so you can get a little bit of rotation and in and out. The knee, super tight, but there's a bend to it there, and then it seems to collide with itself, so I think that's just like a 80-degree bend or so. And it actually goes forward a tiny bit in an unnatural way, but it's a robot. Okay, so yeah, all these armor bits could come off, but the foot, there's a hinge up here, so the foot can shift front and back, and then there's a ball peg on the bottom, so it can rock and it can, you know, pivot forward and back. So yeah, quite a good amount of movement there in the foot. And even the toe thing here, if you'd call this a toe, this little thing pivots a little bit too. It's not a ball peg though, it's a hinge. So you can see there's a hinge there, a ball peg there. Alright, so I think these are supposed to be drive wheels. You know, it drives on this, this, and this, and it scoots along the ground. That's what I'm guessing, just based on my experience with other VOTOMS toys. But it's got these big thrusters in the shins. Maybe it flies and all that stuff. So it's a really funky Berserga. It's the craziest one I've seen to date. But in general, it's still a cool model kit. You know, it's a robot unlike any other robot I've seen. Oh, one last bit of articulation is this flap. Yeah. And you notice there's a peg hole here for maybe a stand. There's also peg holes back here. I don't know what goes in them. This is the handle of the gun. It's just a smooth, round cylinder because these optional hands have smooth, round holes. So you could, you know, have them holding the gun. But this rifle is pretty interesting that there's an optional hand that allows it to kind of hold the gun standing up. So let's go and do that. Which is different, you know, different than normal. I gotta put this armor back on. Right, so I think that's cool. It's just a little bit different, so I like it. I don't know, maybe other pieces, maybe not from this kit, from maybe other model kits can go here, like guns. Actually, I was a little curious to see if the gun would even fit on here, so let me pull this out again. Let's see if this is the same size. It's very loose. I don't think it's designed to hold this gun. No. So, to be determined in the future. if anything else is meant to fit there. This ammo canister comes off. I'm wondering if it can go here, because I see these open rectangles. That's the ball peg right there. Maybe that's why it's there. Well, it's not that important, I guess. Not for me. The knees are super tight. So, just looking at the joints here, let's see if I can balance this on one foot. It's a pretty narrow foot, but I think it can be done. Yeah, look at that. So, for a new model, it's quite tight. Alright, so let's compare, or not really compare, just show off some other Bersergas that I've collected. This is supposed to be 1/48 scale, I believe. I don't think it said that anywhere on this packaging. Oh, and now that I'm looking at these instructions, these two extra gray pieces can be swapped out, as you can see here. And so that would put it into the crouch down mode, where the pilot climbs in and out of the cockpit. But I never posed them that way, and this doesn't even have a figure mimicking a pilot. So, but the other hands, these are the last remaining pieces. This open hand, two fists, and two fists that have holes to hold guns. So yeah, and then you got those hands there, so not bad. Alright, so the first model kit I made from this whole Blue Knight series is this Berserga, and this looks more like a normal Berserga. And again, I didn't repaint this. The gold you see here is the way it came, but it does look plasticky. You know, it could definitely use a paint job. So here's a pre-made toy by Takara Tomy. So this is raw plastic also, but Takara Tomy, they seem to use a much higher grade plastic. For some reason it looks less cheap to me. It looks a little more finished. Maybe not these parts here in this linkage, but like the main dark blue, it just looks classier, I think. Here's another Takara Tomy, and this is purple, but even this purple for some reason just looks like a denser color to me. It's almost like this plastic is letting too much light into it or something, whereas these are pretty much straight, you know, opaque, where nothing's getting in there. Could be an illusion, not sure. Okay, but anyways, these are all Berserga robots apparently, and you can see the evolution. I believe this is the first one, and then this would be the second one. This could have been from an animation as well, I believe. And then I would assume this is the third one. And then perhaps, since this is from 2020, this is from an earlier series. If this is volume 3, maybe this is volume 2. Possible. I forget, you'll have to look up my reviews. I can't remember everything I do. I have so many videos now. But they all have, you know, these funky eyes. These are all round. This one introduced a rectangular one. This one continues that theme. And then this has a rectangular and 3 tiny round ones. But they all also have like this like spike hairdo antenna thing, you know. So that carries across on all 4 of them. And they all have this like gold, old school filigree kind of thing and on this shield with the spike. They all have a spike shield. Actually, this one doesn't have gold on it. Quite interesting, yeah. So yeah, that one is lacking gold, but it does have a spike shield. So those seem to be common traits amongst these Bersergas. Alright guys, well, you know, if you like this kind of stuff, hang out, and eventually you'll get those other model kits built, and we'll see more comparisons when those are done. Thanks, see you around, bye.